3, 2. What's wrong with you people?
What? Just say 3, 2, and then we'll all say 1. Why is it so hard?
Because nobody was saying it with me, you fucks.
Because you're going at this ridiculous pace. Just say 3, 2.
Because I'm waiting for you guys to go 3 when I'm going 3. 3, 2, 1.
1.
How wonderful! How wonderful it is.
Okay,
It's the Hardy Construction. No, God damn it, Danny, that was the opening of the show. What's up, everybody? It's the Hardy Construction. You can find us at hardyconstruction.tumblr.com, youtube.com/hardyconstruction, as well as facebook.com/the Hardy Construction with those comp.
Mom.
I'm going to kill this guy. As well as
Thea.
from horrorharbor.tumblr.com. Is that right? I was going to say .net, but hey, what's up? Today's film is...
Oh, Coherence, 2013.
Coherence 2013. Really, 2013? 2013.
Yeah,
hey, did you guys know if this took place somewhere else, it'd be called Coherence? Strange things begin to happen when a group of friends gather for a dinner party on an evening when a comet is passing overhead. Directed and written by James Ward Burkett. 3 names for a person is usually a serial killer, but they made a pretty interesting movie instead. Starring Emily Baldoni, Maury Sterling, Nicholas Brendon. Nicholas Brendon! He found time to not drink, but still drink on cinema. So, Thea, it's Thea's time of the month. Why did you pick this movie, Thea?
I picked this movie because I'd heard about it from a couple of friends who had actually recently watched it, not in 2013 when it came out, and suggested it to me. And it's as simple as that. That's right.
Is this a movie you can find on Netflix or where? Is it usually just streaming services?
This one I don't think is on. It's not on Netflix here. So
yeah, I think Netflix on DVD only because I tried to look it up on Netflix.
Shudder. Shudder is good at having weird, obscure things.
So Coherence, my history with it, since all you guys are waiting to know, I actually heard about this film a long time ago. The poster for it looks really cool. It's very cheap made poster, but it gets the job done in what it's doing. It's a double-sided poster of the word coherence with the name with the female character M flipped in reverse or whatever.
She doesn't really strike me as the star.
She flips in reverse.
She doesn't either. They say that in the wiki. If you guys read the wiki, it seems like the laziest wiki entry ever because there were sequences in this film after watching it. I was like sort of a little bit confused. I got what the film was about and I understood what happened. I actually had it spoiled for me a long time ago. And then I realized watching it, I was like, let me just see something that I missed because I know there was a part...
This is a weird wiki. What the hell?
It basically just says, hey, this stuff happens, and then they just detail the ending of the movie. And you're like, wow, you really learned nothing about it.
The summary is saying, it stars Emily blah 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 as a woman who must deal with strange occurrences. It's not just her, it's everybody.
I know, they try to...
It's very much like an ensemble movie. Like, she doesn't really become like the main character until the end.
You know what I'm thinking?
Last 5 minutes.
Yeah. I think Emily Baldoni actually just wrote that Wikipedia, the actress herself, so she can make herself look good.
That's right.
So this film, I was very surprised in watching it. This is actually the second comet film that I've seen recently that had to deal with doppelgangers. Another film that I will say, that's why I'm not very surprised by the film itself, because watching it I was like, well, this sort of happened in another thing. I saw a film recently called Plus One, which is actually a movie I enjoyed a lot. I
haven't watched that one yet.
A movie that sort of pulled the punch of this one, because this film, Plus One, is a movie about a comet, much like this one, that goes overhead. Right? And there's these sort of I think they're ending high school kids going. They're having a big house party. It's sort of that sort of wild party going on, and everybody has a double of themselves arrive at the party, but the doubles are about 15 minutes in the past. And so people are watching themselves do things that they've done 15 minutes earlier. But the problem is those doubles keep catching up in time, and the main characters are pretty much afraid of what might happen if they catch up on time with them. So it's a really interesting film for what it was, but it is sort of, obviously it's a teenager version of this film, and it's actually done really well. So if you've seen Coherence, you can kind of see the teenager version.
First? Do you know when Plus One came out?
Plus One is one of those films that...
I think it's more recent, isn't it?
I think it's actually around near the same time. It might have been 2014, but it certainly was a more recent film.
Do you think that the writer... Do you think the writer's doppelganger...
But the thing is,
the doppelganger of the writer of this movie?
Plus One was based on a short that was made earlier, so I don't know really. But that I would totally suggest if you enjoyed this film, you might like that one a little bit more. It doesn't have sort of that faux heady brilliance of this movie.
It also reminded me a bit of Triangle.
Yeah,
right,
I've thought of that a million times.
Yeah.
So this film is more of a science fiction drama than it is a horror, but it's actually really well done, and we love covering sort of science fiction just to kind of do something different now and then.
Mix
we love
it
genres.
up a little bit. You know what we're saying, everybody?
And you guys know if this took place in a frat, it'd be called Broherence. Okay,
Yes.
that was my last joke of the day. So anyway,
Don't lie.
Thea, why don't you give us
That
a
was
little rundown of what this film Coherence is about?
The basic setup is just how many of them are there? 8?
Boy,
Yes,
she
8 people.
really just
8
talks
friends
and
at a
talks.
party. 8 friends that meet for a dinner party. You get sort of introduced to their various relationships between the various characters. Stand out amongst them is Laurie, who is obviously has history with M's husband, but is coming with Amir. And sort of she sort of starts shit with a bunch of various characters who clearly
This
do not like her.
this is a white person's horror film. It's very.
I actually thought of that a couple times. I was like, "This is just what happens at a white person's dinner party."
It's
When
just
all white people.
It's really
Having
nice.
his, like, intellectual conversations and everything.
And
like,
then
you know how-
you have to kill your doppelgangers. That's what happens.
Just the like in between of Nicholas Brendon's character Mike versus I think it's Laureen Scafaria, the hot chick. Everybody. Oh no, it's Laurie. I'm sorry, Laurie's the girl. Lee's his wife.
Lee's his husband,
There's-
his wife rather.
They're having little snipes with each other during this conversation. I was like, whoa, this is very Housewives of wherever, New Jersey or whatever the fuck they're from.
It's very
It's
tense.
very tense arguments.
I
Although they
wonder
get
if
like
there
really
was
shit show
improv
there.
in this. Do you think there's a lot of improv?
I
Probably
think
a
so.
bit.
I think just I'm sure they gave him. It's sort of a.
You feel
I
like
don't
that,
think it's.
like the mumblecore or whatever the fuck they call that. Like, not.
I don't think it's
What's it
as.
called?
I don't think
You know,
it's as.
I know what you mean, but I can't remember what it's called.
I don't think it's as loose as Curb Your Enthusiasm is, where it's all improv. I think that they give them a certain set of stuff, and then they just kind of chat with each other. One thing about this film that made me very happy to see, but also very depressed to see, is Nicholas Brendon in it, because I realized how. Did either of you ever watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer? Or
I
ever
did.
fans of it or anything? Okay.
I watched it actually like 5 years ago instead of when it actually aired.
Okay, so you went through the whole series then, I assume.
I went through the first 3 seasons, I think, and then I.
And that's the best. That's the best way to cut it off, because the third season is probably the best season out of it. So anyway, Nicholas Brendon portrayed on that show a character named Xander. So it's sort of comedic that they have him in this film playing a character Mike, who's on a show called Roswell, which was actually another show on the same series on the same channel that Buffy was on, and it was about aliens and stuff like that.
Oh, so that
him
was a real show,
I guess it
Roswell?
was I think they were playing a joke. Anyway, but what makes me sad about it is that Nicholas Brendon now has a lot of problems, and he's a drunk. Like, he's a drunk. He just got arrested for assault and battery on his girlfriend. Like,
Shit.
he showed up on Dr. Phil, and the thing is, like, Xander was sort of the character that every man was supposed to relate to in the show, because he was the guy with no superhero powers.
He was sort of like Buffy's version of like Chandler on Friends. Like, he was always like
Yeah,
a
it
comic
was-
relief and sort of like hitting on all these women and whatever.
Always losing. And it's still one of the greatest visual gags in that show is that Buffy tells him to get a steak out of her bag to kill a vampire, and while he's rifling through it, he finds a tampon, and it like throws fear into him like you wouldn't believe. It's great. He just tosses it away.
You see
Anyway,
fear in
what
that.
was also funny is that Nicholas Brendon actually has a twin brother in real life, and I didn't realize when I saw the scene of him next to himself in the thing, I was like, oh, they doubled that. Then I realized, oh no, that's his brother Kelly Donovan, who's just
Was
like
it actually
in the-
his real
in the
brother
film.
who was on it?
Yeah, his brother's tied up to him in the chair at the very end of the film. Anyway, back to that. To Nicholas Brendon actually does a really good job in this film, and it really is sad that this guy couldn't get his shit together and be in more films like this, because you can see how sort of personable and charming and a good actor he is in this film. And he's just like fucking it up with his problems.
And it's very dark that they kind of like
Drinking,
his character
right?
an alcoholic.
I wonder if they knew. Nah,
Maybe
they
he
couldn't have known
requested
that, but
it. Maybe he wanted them to do that, you know?
He was method acting. So Emily Baldoni is playing M. She's the blonde girlfriend of Kevin, who's played by Maury Sterling, and she's I guess they're just in a newer
What are you trying to say
relationship.
there? What are you trying to say there, Alex?
I'm saying he's a sterling actor. So Maury Sterling as Kevin. Kevin is her new boyfriend, but he used to be dating a young woman named Laurie, who apparently is a firecracker of a woman that likes to show off. She is now dating Amir, who is another friend of theirs.
Look at these people getting around with
the way they talked about Laurie, the way they talked about her before she got there, I thought she was going to be hotter.
Oh, shots
fired!
I
don't know if anybody else felt that way.
I thought
they were talking about her like she wears tight dresses and
but these people are all like old.
Maybe the director just wanted to get laid, so he wrote it that way. He said, "See, I made you hot. I'm hot." Anyway, she's. I thought she was
in like a star.
What are you implying, Danny? Anyway, I actually thought she was the most attractive one in the film, but that's just me. She's Laurie. Yeah, she is not a. She seemed not as much of an asshole as everybody kind of said she was. I don't know what the big deal is that
it's
maybe.
Just like I think.
I guess everybody was
gossipy, petty friends. You know.
It could be that everybody was closer to Kevin, right?
She also started shit a bit. Like she started shit with Mike, being like, "Oh, you were on that show? I didn't like." You don't look like you were on that show.
No, but I mean, they were saying this about her.
Of the thing. She forgot
I think so,
stuff.
yeah. But I think they were talking shit about her before she even showed up at the party. You know what I mean? I think maybe everybody had a better relationship with Kevin than they did with her, so she's sort of an odd man out in the group.
The whole thing with the comet, it makes you forget random shit. That was the story that Hugh was telling, and then all of a sudden that this guy's on a show, you know?
There's multiple universes, and so there's multiple versions where, although Kevin, I'm not Kevin, Mike unfortunately slept with his best friend's wife in each one of them, I guess.
Imagine there's a version in a different alternate universe, Mike starred in a show called Hoswell.
Boy, I thought my jokes were bad in this episode. So there's also, is it Elizabeth Gracken? I could have sworn her name is Gracken, but it looks like it's Grayson. But she's playing Beth. She's sort of this new age woman that's screwing around with everybody, trying to talk about their feng shui. I thought it was feng shui. She says feng shui.
She won Miss America in 1982.
She did?
Yeah.
Somebody needs a time machine. There's Hugo Armstrong as Hugh. He looked very familiar to me, but I couldn't place where he was from. Alex Mangjuang as Amir, and that's pretty much rolling out the cast. What did you guys think about the interplay between all the characters in the film, and what do you think it was trying to convey?
Thea.
I thought they set up the relationships really nicely, and it felt like real people. It felt very like you were there. The only thing I didn't love was because they were trying to make it so like naturalistic in the beginning, there was a lot of like cross talking and people just talking over each other,
which is sort of realistic, and I sort of like
dinner party. But like in a movie, I want to hear what people are saying, and I feel like it was distracting when they were just like all talking over each other constantly.
You should complain about it.
Yeah.
Did the interactions feel real about it? Did it feel real at all, or you thought that?
It felt real.
It was just too distracting.
It almost felt too real. You know what I mean? Like
I was.
Yeah, I don't know.
It is called mumblecore, by the way.
I was sort of wondering where it was going at the first 5 minutes of the movie, because I knew it had some sort of science fiction edge to it, but the way that it was sort of set up, the first 10 minutes are actually just characters talking to each other. Almost. And Emily really isn't like the main character in the film, like you said, until the last 10 minutes.
Not at all. I don't understand like why they do that. It's stupid.
And why the phones crack by themselves? Who knows? I guess that's some sort of weird. I don't know why that would be affected. I know, but why would a comet crack your phone? I guess it's just it was just probably a visual cue for people. They could have done a lot of things with that. It's too weird to get into the specific details of what happens in this film, but do you guys think that this story was written with a actual like concrete plot, or do you think they were sort of bullshitting around writing it, saying, "Oh, we'll just leave it up to the audience to guess that this is what's really happening," like some sort of faux intelligence writing behind it? I think it's an intelligent written film, but I don't think they, there's a lot of happenstance.
They wrote out all the dialogue. I think that they winged like 90% of that, but once it gets into like doppelgangers and the putting the shit in the box
and who's in which.
Yeah, I think once the direct,
it's very obvious,
I think the writers wrote the plot up to a point where one character will go to the other house and he'll be doing it at the same time somewhere else. But I think they wrote themselves out of sort of like a time crime sort of situation by saying there's multiple universes.
Right.
So that way they can do whatever they wanted, as opposed to, some asshole, rewatching the film 20 times to see if there's any inconsistencies with the film.
They didn't get into that even until the very end. Like, it was like there's only one other universe up until, like, at least, like, halfway through
like
the
half,
movie.
yeah.
And then all of a sudden, now there's, like, a third person, and then, like...
And then there's, hundreds.
So do you...
They don't know. I feel like that worked because it was meant to be confusing for the characters, that they had no idea how many different versions there were, and just, like, piling version on top of version. I think they were trying to drive M towards that point where she finds that perfect house at the end and is like, well, I'm going to take her place because this is the best choice of all terrible choices.
If they had just shut the fuck up and stayed still, they would have been perfectly fine. They would have had a dinner party, and that would have been the end of it.
Because there were shades of this film in the movie The Invitation, but there are a lot of films like that where there's sort of like more than 5 people talking around at a restaurant, or at a home setting eating. You seen The Invitation yet, Thea, or no?
I have, yeah. I really liked that movie.
Yeah,
it was a great movie too, and I think that's the strength of writing in a film with multiple characters, about having them interact with each other in a sort of realistic way. Like The Invitation was much more genre, than this one. This one feels actually more like an indie film, but really well done. Sure. Now, do you think that the strength in this film, by having such a high concept be done in such a lo-fi way, makes it work? Do you think that it elevates the film, or do you think that sort of... Because, I mean, this film can easily be done as a play, I think. Do you know what I mean? Like, it looks like it could be done as a play. But do you think this sort of filmmaking, where they take a high concept, but they take the sort of science fiction elements in a lo-fi way, makes it work? Or do you think it hurts it and it cheapens it a little bit?
Talking to Thea.
Anybody?
Thea's a lot smarter than me. I feel like Thea should answer the question.
Oh, is Danny on this episode? Oh, good.
I think it worked. I think you can. I mean, you can tell that they had limitations based on like budget and that kind of thing. But I think
$50,000.
I liked the introspection of like you get to get all of that character drama of just them realizing like, oh, I might be the worst possible version of myself from all of these different versions. Like when Mike realizes basically like I am probably the biggest piece of shit Mike that exists out there.
Yeah. And then he tries doesn't he try to throw it off on another Mike that's not there when Hugh confronts him about the sleeping with his wife? Mm-hmm. And of all the girls too. And it's so funny. And then it also destroys my theory that all girls with black hair and glasses look the same, sort of like Thea. Thea, you got like dark brown hair though, right? Is it? Mm-hmm. So that girl looks nothing like Thea. I usually say like no. I'm saying girls with dark hair and glasses all sort of follow that. Who's that singer? That I always compare you to.
You're making fun of a whole race.
Lisa Loeb. They all have a Lisa Loeb look. This is the only girl who cannot pull off the Lisa Loeb look, and I couldn't understand why. But speaking of Friends, let's bring some reality into this. Please tell us all when Thea, because I haven't asked you personally, but when you actually met Danny for the first time, please tell us, regale us with the story.
Was it amazing?
It was amazing.
Come on!
It was great, except for he didn't have a mustache, and I was very disappointed by that.
Well, I shaved it, but it's back now. It's back.
Oh, now it's back. That's
so.
It takes like 2 weeks to be back.
So Danny
happened to have shaved at that moment.
Well,
as Thea knows, Danny is a 6-foot black man with long dreads.
He's so
very
much skinnier than I even imagined.
He is, right? Doesn't he look like he should, have himself? He can't eat bread. That's the problem. You know what's funny? Why I bring this up is because
lots of cheese and butter and all that stuff.
This is great.
I gotta say something. On Halloween night, right? I was filming this project that I needed help with Danny from, right? So then I also brought over this actor that I had worked with before, but not professionally. Where I was directing him. Danny's running around, squawking in the air like an insane person running around, and I'm trying to look really professional.
Halloween.
Yes, I understand that, but it was like I didn't know what was going on because Danny and I were having like regular conversations the whole night, like normal. We would say stupid shit, but then like I bring in this third party and Danny starts like a lunatic, and I was like, did he do this shit with Thea and like Heather? Like, I think it's when there's more than one person, Danny starts going berserk. And I would have to, like, snipe at Danny, and Danny was like, sorry. Like, I was like, what's going on? So I just want to know if Heather was like, what the fuck's going on?
He beat me savagely.
He wasn't too crazy. We just made we made
love.
Mutual inappropriate jokes.
We made love with our eyes and our souls.
I bet you Danny was on his best behavior with his jokes, because we were saying some horrible shit that night, but whatever.
I
just wanted to bring that.
I mean, we were talking about, like, eating baby heads like layer dip or something.
Yeah, we were talking about sick things. We were.
It was pretty messed
something
up.
About,
but
like,
it was
babies.
It was what I would expect. Yeah, five layers of.
Was it weird? Was it like walking into another dimension though? Like actually meeting each other
like
for the first time when you actually did it?
I mean, I've seen Danny on Skype multiple times, so it just felt like
true.
that. But then I also got to give him a hug, which was nice.
Oh, that's nice.
The hug was intense. It was great.
It was great.
Anyway, so back to this film. I was working, so tough shit. You didn't meet the cool one. All right, so back to this film. What are some negative aspects of this film for you guys that didn't work for you as a science fiction movie? I mean, did we even really get into the plot of this film besides the comedy? It is a basic general plot, right?
The whole shoehorning of this Emily character as the star out of nowhere, and she's not even like, they don't even do anything with her character the whole time. So she's
think it might
and stuff, and then all of a sudden they're like trying to make it about her. Like she's the least developed character. They should have done it about like that guy Michael or like the girl Lee or something. Somebody that's like developed more.
I think it's because we come into the film with her that they expect to leave the film with her. Maybe that's why they did that. Like, but she wasn't necessarily interesting enough to do that. But you know, her pulling that sort of asshole move at the end was interesting. Mm-hmm. But I've seen it before in other movies. But I like that they actually went with that in this film, and whenever a character is completely caught at the end of a film, but they leave it, you know, just to end credits, I tend to like that stuff because
she didn't even need the kill. She didn't need the kill. She could have just, it was out of character.
Pushed her into the dark space.
She could have just walked into the house. And you see her sitting at the table, and then here she is walking into the house. That would.
But I think there might have been some desperation into the fact where they were all talking about, you know, universes collapsing into one another, and she might think like, if this one's alive, I might, you know, and since this isn't my world, I might disappear. So you can't really go with what. Yeah, you can't really know what's going on in this character's head, and
she had just seen so many different terrible versions that basically she was like, this is my way out, and I don't want to lose that because there's another version of me running around in it.
Yeah, but how terrible was it? They're having a dinner party. At most, it's like Hugh getting mad at Michael or something for fucking his wife 10 years earlier.
Well, she saw the versions where there were two Mikes tied up.
Yeah, right.
Being held hostage.
And the one she had left, Mike had killed his.
Threatening each other to like kill each other.
Yeah, so she was basically going.
Like, they're all stupid. They could just not do anything and they'd be fine.
But the thing is that they all are confronting themselves, so that's what the problem was. So she found the only house that didn't have that confrontation and decided to stay there, but she, in fact, created a confrontation at the very end of it. So that's the irony of her going in there. Very good. So, I mean, yeah, I understand about her being shoehorned. I thought it was okay because I don't know where else they could have gone on. Yeah, I didn't find a problem with it. I actually didn't find any much problem with this film at all, but the fact that I saw that other film, Plus One, already sort of took the edge off of watching this one. And it's not necessarily a time-traveling film, though it sort of turns into it midway. I can't really explain it, but the fact that they sort of... You know, the putting the paper on the door when he's about to write it, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, there were nice moments.
That's just because the order of things changes, but it's not like time, it's just dimension travel.
Oh, that's right. What do you call that? Time. That's what was happening. You know what time was going through time.
You know what's really cool about it, though, is that, like, so this happened to this house, and all these people are, like, it's, like, pretty much a guarantee that in every version there's now people from other dimensions, like, that are all jumbled up, like, none of them are the same. Like so
which is
every house in every dimension has people from multiple dimensions in it now, and that's probably the same for every house everywhere in the world because the comet's going over the whole planet.
Yeah, so I really liked that idea.
So all the dimensions are like all tangled up like spaghetti. What are you trying to say, yo?
It's a little confusing because now I believe M is stuck in the world where she is now the outsider Emily, where there's an actual Emily there. Why Emily um, removed herself from that. This is what the wiki says, that the one from the bathroom left and called Kevin at the end. Meanwhile, the Emily that hit her over the head with the top of the toilet could have just walked out while her version is passed out. Do you know what I mean? That's why I don't understand what was going on. Maybe she snuck somewhere else in the house to call Kevin, but I didn't really understand why she would stay in the bathroom and,
You know, it would have been really cool.
Well, I don't think she wasn't calling her from the bathroom.
No, she wasn't, because Beth was, coming out of the shower. So
right.
Why she didn't just sort of talk to everybody while this one was passed out didn't make any sense. Like, I don't know.
I
maybe
bet
she
in
was
one
afraid or
alternate
something.
universe, at least one of the millions, she scissored with herself or something. Like, she did something sexual with her passed out body.
Because I don't think what happened was, I don't think that last family at the end, the last group of people at the end were even reacting to the comment stuff. So
no, they didn't. They had no idea what was
So
going
I guess
on.
Hugh must have not said shit about it. So he probably just like blew it off, and he was eternally a cheated on guy with his
So basically,
wife.
it's all Hugh's fault.
Yep.
Hugh, why
he
do you
fucked
gotta
it
be
up
this
for
way,
everybody.
man?
Hugh, fuck up. So,
Fuck.
anything else? That's a good one. Anything else you want to say about this, Thea?
No, I liked it. I liked that it was like quiet. It was sort of like tense drama between characters rather than huge special effects of what usually you expect from a sci-fi.
And I liked I liked how it would cut to black as an editing tool. Like, I usually would be like, "What's wrong with the movie?" But it would cut to black to sort of as a reference of time being sped up. It would just always cut to black.
Different versions of the conversation and different.
I think so, because I don't know. I assume
Yeah.
Emily was the only original character we stuck with throughout the whole film, because through certain parts of the film, I'm like, are we seeing anybody that was from the original group at all in this film? I'd be totally confused, because obviously she was having a conversation with a mic that she didn't start out with in the beginning, and I thought that was really neat to have a film not be so blatant as telling you who you've started out with. Obviously, M is the main one that we stuck with, but it was still an interesting experience for a film. But I would totally suggest watching this back to back with Plus One and seeing
and
what
Triangle.
you think. Yes, Triangle as
and
well.
Time Crimes.
Triangle was produced by the company of the great Mel Gibson, right, Danny?
What was the one?
Icon Films.
We saw another time travel
Mel
one with
Gibson.
this guy and his son or something.
Yeah, that was the name of it.
What was it
So,
called?
Thea, what rating would you give this movie? I don't know what that movie you're talking about is.
I'm gonna give it 7 out of 10 white people doppelganger dinner parties.
Time Crimes.
Time Crimes. Yeah, I said that already.
Oh,
anyway.
I didn't realize that was the same one.
I'll give this a 7 out of 10. Where the fuck did Lori suddenly get into horny mode for her ex-boyfriend? Because you think it was just fear or something?
Either way, versions of her was horny.
I'd love to run into all those versions. Anyway, 7 out of 10 running.
With all of them.
7 out of 10 running into your ex, and she's trying to hook up with you. Meanwhile, the world is sort of collapsing into itself. Hey, do you I'm not even gonna make that joke. Go ahead, Danny. What's your rating?
I'm gonna give it a 8 out of 10.
Whoa, high roller.
Finding your own version passed out in my fantasy alternate dimension.
Be careful.
8 out of 10.
Out of 10 what?
8
I'm trying to save your ass, you fuck.
8 out of 10 going into another dimension and politely nodding to yourself.
There you go. Thea, what's the final word?
Bunk.
Danny, what's the final word?
You betcha.
The horror deconstruction.